watch and see.
Okay.
Okay, so yeah, so welcome. Our agenda for today, we're going to introduce ourselves, who we are, and then ask you to introduce yourself, who you are, how you will learn, what the program entails, and how to get started. Sound like a good plan? Perfect. Okay, so we're Matt and Kate, and I'm going to stop sharing so we can go big again. I've been in education for 30 years. I've taught in the US, China, Tanzania, Thailand, and Cambodia. I'm currently in Cambodia. And in 2012, I started to become a workshop leader, and I did workshops not just for the IB, but also for First Steps out of Australia. It doesn't exist anymore, or it might, I don't know. And Compass Education, trust-based observations, and I also lead my own workshops. And I went all the way to become a head of school. And then after 2 headships, I decided that I wanted to make more money working less so I could be a more present parent to my 2 teenagers, because they will soon go off and go to the university. And I became a coach first in 2020 during COVID. And but after that program, I didn't really feel like confident to do it full time. And then recently, after going through Dr. Shiny's Neuro-Shine technology course, I've fully bought in, and I am doing a pretty good job of coaching school leaders. And I have a consultancy with a school in Singapore, and I lead one of their PLCs. And I also help people with their job search. So I do a few different things, and coaching is one of my loves. And the last cohort I taught, I had 2, a PYP coordinator and a director of curriculum and instruction. So I really want to bring ICF style coaching to education worldwide. And so that's kind of my goal, because I want to humanize education. And I think bringing coaching to schools will help that. So that's a little bit about me.
Yay. Hi, Eliana. I'm Matt Porter. I'm actually in Los Angeles, and I'm actually a psychotherapist. I have been for 25 years. And then I have, over that time, I've taken a few courses in coaching, one about 10 years ago, from just in neuro-linguistic programming, which was with Dr. Shiny when she used to live here in LA. So I did that with her in person about 10 years ago. And then in the meantime, I found another approach to coaching, which is called the 3 principles. It's kind of a spiritual psychology approach. I really liked it, but I just same with after just doing the NLP course, I wasn't quite sure how I would translate that into like coaching, and also just being a psychotherapist, how to either bring that in or do it differently. So I still had questions. And then like Kate, I also last year took Dr. Shiny's new like updated course, which in the meantime, since I took her NLP course 10 years ago, she got her PhD in metaphysics, and she went down the ICF. I don't know if you know what ICF is, the International Coaching Federation, which we're going to talk about, but that's like the credentialing standard, which is what this course falls under. So I took her course, which is also like a mixture of NLP and Neuro-Shine technology, which we're going to tell you about, which is a combination of a bunch of different disciplines. So same with Kate, like now I'm super energized and I really understand what coaching is. And it's a really beautiful, amazing approach, which is different from psychotherapy. And I also have I have a much greater clarity on how I can use it, to help people in a different way. So, and I'm super excited also about being on the faculty with Kate and teaching other coaches. So
Nice to meet you both. I have to say that very interesting background for you both. For me, I've been a teacher, I think, since 2002, and I've been a coordinator since 2013. I've been doing PYP coordination, MYP coordination, head of department, training teachers regarding the different elements within the IB. In 2021, during COVID as well, I enrolled in CBCI course, concept-based certification. So I'm a trained I'm already a certified trainer for concept-based training. I've been doing workshops related to concept-based. However, what I did is I did a complete switch. Last year, I thought the coordination, the dealing with a lot of people is taking a lot of time, and I'm not developing a lot as a certified trainer. So this is where I actually took a step back and I went back into teaching because I want to focus more on coaching, something that I really enjoy. And I want to build my portfolio later on and stopping being a teacher and simply moving on and taking more time for myself, simply having more free time to do the things that I actually enjoy. So last year I signed in as the English teacher for MYP, and I started with a DP journey. So I have the experience in PYP, MYP. The DP was something new that I was doing, so I thought that was something that is challenging. So I'm
Yeah.
still developing within that. Yes, this year I'm continuing as well within the MYP and the DP. But once I did the program leader in the IB, and I did the workshop leader. I did the workshop in June, and I thought, okay, so I might need to work more and how to actually give the workshops and how to coach teachers within the elements. And I was thinking of, I don't want the IB to be the label that I'm working in. So I want to explore even further. And I'm looking for different ways to develop as a certified trainer without the IB logo within that. That's why when Kate she sent one of the flyers, I think,
Yes.
discussing that, yes, on the group, on the resources group. So I looked at it. I thought it's something interesting. So I'm trying to simply attend a couple of things in order to start focusing what are the aspects that I really want to go through. So this is, I'm trying to create a plan for the next 2 years. What are the aspects that I need to do? Shall I go into master's degree? Shall I invest more into coaching and do that? So I'm still within that bridging area.
Oh, fantastic. And it's interesting because our last webinar we did a couple weeks ago,
Yeah.
we had three participants and one of them was also CBCI trained.
Ah, okay, that's interesting. I think everyone they're taking the CBCI course, it's enlightening, I have to say that, and it changed the way you're thinking about everything, and you start questioning more things. And unfortunately, I'm start questioning my own knowledge and my own
Yeah.
things and my own skills. I think this is part of the self-regulation, self-understanding that we need to go more in depth. So that's why I thought, okay, how about I go more into more understanding regarding myself, my strength, my areas that I need to develop, and let's frame my own action plan into developing based on these aspects.
Oh,
I
that's
love that.
fantastic.
Thank you.
That's great.
It sounds like you have a similar journey to probably both of us in different ways. In terms of
Yeah.
trying to find something uh a little more expanded of a way to work differently and to sort of move from that place, which I think this is definitely a
Yeah.
good option. I think you'll discover.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
say it's having a superpower and having the coaching conversations um just helps people to relax. And people in schools are really, really stressed. I'm sure there's stress
Definitely.
everywhere, but I know schools.
Definitely. Everyone is super stressed. I'm super stressed a bit because I'm waiting for my students' results on August 1st because they did the assessment. So I need to find ways to cope with a lot of things. This is why.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, Eliana, I think that's one thing that Matt and I would, for attending the webinar, we'd like to offer you coaching sessions. Is that right, Matthew?
Yeah. Yeah, Yeah, well, we have a couple of offers, but
Mm.
yeah, we've decided we'll get into this, but if you decide to sign up and join the class by August 15th,
Mm.
we'll each give you like it's like a bonus.
Okay.
We'll each give you an hour of coaching with each of us, so you can really
Okay.
experience what it's like as
Okay,
well.
Yeah.
that's interesting. Yes, that's interesting.
Yeah.
So if it's okay, I'll just tell you a little bit about the program, and
Yeah.
Matthew's going to chime in. What the program entails is you get access to a really, really in-depth digital library, and each course is unlocked over a week. And then there are weekly synchronous virtual meetups that are 3 hours. And on the 11th week, there's 2 mentor coaching sessions that are 4 hours each where people coach live. And then there's at the end, I think week 8, there's an NLP test, which is neuro linguistic programming, and a Neuro-Shine technology test that you need to pass. So, what's required of you? You watch the digital library, and there's an app that makes it super easy. And there's so much that you kind of just have to get through it the first time and know that you'll want to go back to it later. And then once a week, which is a Friday night or Saturday morning, depending on your time zone, it'd probably be early Saturday morning for you. We'd meet for 3 hours, and that's the basic outline structure. And the next thing that you might ask is, what is Neuro-Shine technology? Which is when you look inside a brain and you're doing tests, I don't know if it's MRIs, but when you're observing neurons, when neurons wire, they fire. We hear that neurons that wire together, fire together. They actually shine and they create electrical impulses. And that's why it's called Neuro-Shine technology, because this coaching is coaching with the intent to create those new neural pathways and new thoughts in the brain. And the 10 disciplines, this is why I personally chose Neuro-Shine technology. I was looking for a job, Eliana, and I had stopped being ahead of school, and I'm like, am I going to coach? Am I going to get a job? And I saw that there was this job at Harvard to coach professors, and I was like, I want that. And then it said you have to be ICF certified. So I was like, oh, okay. So where is the sign up for that? And I went onto the website and I saw Neuro-Shine technology. And what I really liked was that it was NLP, which is the type of coaching that I had taken in 2020, but it also included neuroscience. And I don't know about you, but I love reading about neuroscience and education. And then it also involves metaphysics, quantum physics, cosmology, positive psychology. Have you heard of PERMA? No? Oh, it's a really great model for like, we learned it as a SEL method. And then heart science, emotional intelligence, leadership communication strategies, and advanced coaching skills. So the way Dr. Shiny teaches in the digital library, it's Dr. Shiny. So you learn directly from her. And on the live classes, the 3 hours, it'll be Matt and I. And we'll tell you about that more. But Matt, do you have anything to add here?
Yeah, I was just going to share that. Yeah, the digital library is primarily it's Dr. Shiny teaching the different lessons, which some are neuro-linguistic programming, some are the Neuro-Shine technology specific, and some are the ICF, the core competencies and practices. But they're amazing. Like she is an amazing teacher. As Kate said, you'll go through it one time, but you'll have access forever. So you go back and you learn so much each time. So it's a very dense but amazing learning program.
Yeah. And we have content from the library for you tonight, which are the 5 overcoming the 5 mental blocks, which I love. And then so there's Neuro-Shine technology. And in that, one part of what you learn is NLP, which Dr. Shiny is worked specifically with the co-founder of NLP, Richard Bandler. And basically, have you heard of NLP?
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Great. So, it's the neuro, which are the mental processes, and linguistics, the language, and programming, the programs we run. So we help.
I was just gonna say that the linguistic part, which is so beautiful, I feel like this coaching approach, the ICF coaching approach, is so aligned with NLP because it's really about the language that we use and really listening to people's language. And that's so that's why this coaching, you can apply it to every single conversation, every single interaction, business, personal. Like it's an amazing like superpower, like Kate said.
It's really helped me. Are you a mom, Eliana?
Yes, I have 2 kids.
Yeah. How old are your kids?
One is actually in university, and the second one, she's in grade 8.
Wow, you're way too young to have a student in university.
I don't show age. Let's say that.
That's great. Yeah. So I have felt an acute, um, very specific increase in my ability to parent, to watch my language around my kids. And you will know this, but a lot of times kids say what we say, right? So you hear back, but your language. So sometimes it's not about fixing their language, but about fixing my own language. Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
that's 100% true.
right. So, and the way Neuroshine technology with NLP content is like the 5 mental blocks. So NLP has the mental blocks in, when I studied them, they're called the filters, because you get so much information in that your brain has to filter the information that you bring in. So we delete information, we distort information, we generalize information. And then how the Neuroshine technology, Dr. Shiny added assume and compare. And she also teaches it in a new way from how I learned it. That she teaches them in an order that makes sense of kind of how our brain works. And Matt, just jump in here anytime if you want. But the first one is compare. And our brain looks around in our environment and says, is it safe? And the number one duty of our brain is just to create that safety and security for us to survive. And creating that safety begins with the process of comparison.
Yeah, I would say while we're going through the 5 mental blocks, you can think of them as um, it's what our brain already does. It does it automatically. So what this is about is becoming more conscious of, okay, well, this is what our brain does, but can I also catch it sometimes? And it's not that it's good or bad. Comparison is obviously very useful. It helps our brain organize and go sort through all the millions of possibilities of information coming at us, and it makes sense of it. But in so doing, sometimes it can also start to block out certain parts, because as we compare, we might compare the current situation that's happening, and then our brain starts to go and compare back similar situations in the past, and based on how we interpreted those ones, we might deem it, oh, this is not safe. And so then we'll say, well, I'm not going to even consider this situation, or I'm going to run away from it. Whereas if that may not be the best option in the moment, because our brain is comparing it to what we've previously experienced, and also how we well, the next one of the next ones is like how we distort information. So we delete and we distort. So you start to like see that these different mental blocks, that's what our brain does, is how it organizes information, but it can also be problematic.
Absolutely. And comparing, when we're comparing, we're not really present with what's happening. And in a school, like the way that shows up is people often say, well, at my past school, we did this, or at my in my previous position, and you're comparing instead of staying with the present. And like parenting, you can compare one child to another child, which doesn't really work. So if we can and there's a slide on this later, but the first step to overcoming the blocks is to become aware,
Mhm.
just to develop that awareness around them. So then the next one is deleting. And a lot of, we have so much coming at us. Is this necessary? Like when you're in a meeting and they're talking about, like if you're in MYP and DP and they're talking about the early years, your brain might just go filter that. Oh, that's not something I have to pay attention to, but I've got to write down the exam dates. And so because the brain has short-term memory capacity and can only focus on a limited amount of information, then we might not value everything coming in and it's automatically deleted. And sometimes if we become aware that we delete information, then we can at least recognize that we may not have gotten everything, that we might not have been right, and we can ask questions. Do you want to add anything, Matt?
No, that's beautiful.
That's
Well,
perfect.
I'll just say that, yeah, so the ask questions is also a big part of, what we can do. We become aware that we may even be doing it. Oh my God, did I just delete something? Did I compare something and then delete something? And then what can you do? You start to become curious about, okay, well, what just happened? Did I do that? How is that affecting my choices or my decision making? And then you can start to ask questions, which is kind of the third piece, which is all what coaching is. It's about listening and then asking questions to really gain insight, to gain clarity, to maybe see something in a different way than what our brain at the moment is sort of locked into.
Yeah, and I think this is would be super helpful for kids to know,
Mm,
because and it goes with the IB mission statement, that two people with their differences can be right, you know? And because we do this comparison and deleting and distorting and generalizing, we're not always right, So to have that perspective taking. The next one is distortion, and distortion is, does it serve me? So information's coming in and you might go, is this safe? Do I need this information? And then if you think, yeah, I need it, you think, does it serve me? Does it go with my beliefs? So our distortion is the way our brain creates stories to justify our thoughts, our beliefs, our language, our behaviors, our values, our rules, so that there's alignment with our identity.
mm.
So, do you have a example off the top of your head, Matt?
Um, no, I was just gonna say, yeah, when we distort things, it's trying to fit things into our current framework, but we're
Yeah.
doing it unconsciously most of the time. So it's automatic that we look at the information in front of us, this situation, and we automatically see it from the way that we might believe or what we think about it. And therefore, we've already taken almost a copy of the situation based on our current frameworks, and therefore we've distorted it. Everyone does it, right? We all have our different frames and different perspectives on things, but it's just that again, it's that recognition that, well, this just may be the way that I see situations, but it may not be the only way, and I may be limiting myself by not questioning how I'm viewing the situation. And also, holding other people, expecting that they're seeing it the same way that I am.
Absolutely. And I think one of the ways I've reflected on myself doing this is a lot of times when I listen to people, I'm like, oh, that I had that same thing happen. And I realize that I see it as the same, but that person might not see it as the same. So I've tried to adjust my language to say, like, I'm not sure if this would be the same, but something similar happened to me. So I can I get where you're coming from. Because I've
But
had
I
a
might,
similar experience.
but I
It's
might
not like,
not, but I might not know your experience unless
yeah,
I listen and ask questions and help you articulate it further. Then we actually both might learn something new.
yeah, exactly. Because then you tweet, you can hear the differences and then generalize, like, what does this all mean? And so our selective attention, we've compared things or we've deleted them and we've distorted it, and then we're coming to make meaning. And so it's just our representational systems and our need to make sense of the world, to make harmony and give everything meaning. And then we label it. So that's like when you've been in a staff meeting and everybody walks out and people are like, oh, I'm not cool with this. And somebody else is like, that's not what I heard. We don't have to do that tomorrow. It's going to be, they're just letting us know in advance. And then somebody else is like, no, we have to do it now. And then everybody's heard something different. And we've made different meaning from it. And then there's assumption, right? So a good thing to do is to ask, what is my assumption? Because we project our generalizations to others, it becomes nothing but our assumptions. And if not delivered in intelligent language structure, our assumptions become nothing but other people's opinions. And that's the difference between coaching, I would say, and talking to a friend. Because when you talk to a friend, oh, I had this advice, or even, in a school, like talking with your colleagues, you're just getting their opinions. But when you're with a coach isn't holding their own opinions. They're suspending their opinions. They're focusing on the client and asking deep and thought-provoking questions to develop more awareness. So what can we do to overcome these? And I don't know if you'll have this experience, Ilana. Is it Eliana?
It's Eliana. However, don't worry because I meet a lot of people from different cultures and everyone pronounces it differently, so it's fine.
And my daughter's name is Alana.
Ah, okay.
Oh,
That's similar. That's
yeah,
similar.
yes, exactly. So what can we do? We can activate our awareness. We can become curious, and we can cultivate really good questions. And so that's having like approaching things with a coaching mindset, which is what inquiry-based teachers do, conceptual inquiry-based teachers. But I don't know if this will happen to you, but often when we teach the 5 mental blocks, you might start to see them everywhere, like either within yourself or with other people. So I'll be curious to hear if that happens to you. And so we've talked about Neuro-Shine technology, and we've talked about the neuro-linguistic programming. And then this is a 3 certificate. So you get a certificate as a Neuro-Shine technology coach, and you can get Dr. Shiny gives you an NLP certificate, and you can get it signed from Richard Bandler if you want to pay a little bit extra. But you also, post-program, will be able to apply to get certified through the International Coaching Federation, which for me is like the gold standard of coaching, like the IB, I would say, is the gold standard of education. And so they have very strict criteria. This is for their level 1, you have to do between 60 and 124 specific contact hours. And those are the ones that we have that are online synchronous. So we count the hours of attendance for those. And I think there are 2 classes of the 10 that you can miss and still get your 60 hours. And then you get observation and written feedback, 10 hours of mentor coaching over a minimum of 3 months. Dr. Shiny does the mentor coaching in this case. So Matt and I lead the 10 weeks, and then she does the mentor coaching, which is where people coach live. And you possibly, depending on how many people are in the cohort, she might hold it at a different time so that there can be a group of 10. And then there's the 3 coaching sessions that you do after the class is finished. You do 1 coaching session with someone and you send it to Dr. Shiny and she analyzes it. And then you make the improvements, do another recorded call, send her the new recording, and she'll give you feedback. And then you do it 3 times. And of those 3, 1 has to be at the ACC minimum level. Did I forget anything, Matt?
No, I think that's right.
Yeah. So then ICF level 1 ACC, it's the Associate Credentialed Coach Education Program. And the digital library is easy to access. You can access it on your app or in a browser. The asynchronous calls are on Zoom, and it's the same. I believe it's just there's 1 link that you always go to. The mentor coaching, we assume it will be on week 11, but it depends on how many people show up. If we have more than a cohort of 10, only 10 can fit in 1. And I've mentioned the 2 tests, and those are passable, but you do have to study. And with those, you definitely want to access them and write them off on like a Google Doc and then paste them in.
Those are on your own, so it's not like in class. You get the questions and then you would have already gone through all the material, so it's more about going back and reviewing and just, answering those questions. So those you do on your own, and then yes, they do get evaluated, and most people pass. So,
Yeah.
but if you for some reason, then you could take it again. Um, uh, but it's definitely a good way of integrating and reviewing the information. As we've said, there is a lot. It's a good way of organizing and really making sense of it in those 2. And then that's what allows you to get the 2 certificates right at the end of the program. So the certification in Neuro-Shine technology and the certification as an NLP coach. So you can start coaching at that point, even as a certified coach, prior to getting your actual ACC, the ICF credential, which takes usually a few months for most people to get to that point. So
Perfect. And the online class is structured like this. We start with a coaching question, kind of like an ethical question. And it might be like you're in a coaching session with a client and they hold a belief or value that you do not hold. What would you do? Then after the class discusses the question, there's usually a video that sparks, like a provocation in educational language. And then we go through an ICF Core Competency focus. And that's about 2 hours of the time. And the last hour is dedicated to coaching. There's about a 10-minute bio break in between, but you'll start coaching in real time in the online class. And that starts to develop the confidence and the cognizance of what it takes to become a coach and how to do it So that by the time the 10 weeks is up, you fully feel like you can go and coach anyone.
Yeah, it's amazing. So that's done as peer coaching. So with another student in the class, and you'll switch. So you'll each coach each other during each class, usually for between 20 and 30 minutes. And that's again based on sort of the concept or practice or focus of that week. And then you can start from the beginning. As soon as the class starts, you can start to do peer coaching outside of the class with other students in the class, um, and also start to coach other people. Like you sort of let them know, like, hey, I've started a coaching program, and that actually starts to gather your hours because you'll need to collect 100 hours of coaching in order to apply to take that ICF, the ACC exam. But you can start those hours at the beginning of the course.
Yeah,
Which also starts to give you that real-time practice as you're going through the course. So it's a great way to just start practicing and sharpening your coaching skills.
absolutely. The first coaching program I didn't have that practice built in and we practiced things, but not a full coaching session. And that really made all the difference for me to be coaching and getting feedback. And the way that it works, like Matthew said, is that you coach someone and someone coaches you. So sometimes you're learning through you coaching, but then you can also learn how it feels on the other side. And sometimes you'll be like, that's a question I want to ask when I do it, or that didn't quite feel right. I'll make sure not to use that tone of voice or to do that thing.
And with
Um,
and with coaches, since you're doing a lot in the beginning, you're probably going to do, definitely some peer coaching. So those are also other coaches learning how to be coaches. So it's kind of it's definitely the pressure is much less, and you can really get feedback from each other. And again, you are gathered. They're called paid coaching sessions. When you exchange a session with another coach, that counts as 1 hour. Like if you each do 1 hour, you coach and then you receive coaching from that coach, that's counted as 1 hour of paid coaching towards that ICF, the credentialing.
and so you have so at the program ends, and you've done the 10 weeks in the digital library and you've done your mentor session. What do you need to do to get that ICF accreditation is the 3 coaching sessions, which means you coach 3 times, record them, send them to Dr. Shiny, and you make appointments and you have an hour with her where she'll go through. She has a AI system that analyzes your session. It analyzes how much you spoke, how much the client spoke, and kind of which core competencies you covered. And then after you have 100 hours, 25 of which can be pro bono, 75 need to be paid or bartered. Like, somebody takes you to dinner and then you give them a coaching session. Or I've asked people that are business people, like, can I coach you and you give me business help? And then after you have those things completed, you will get a different certificate from Dr. Shiny that you will be able to upload into the ICF system to schedule your ACC exam. And then you'll study, which there is Dr. Shiny AI. And that's what I'm recommending right now for people to use who are studying for the exam. So then you schedule, study, and pass the ACC exam, and you have your coaching credential. And then if you're like me and Matthew, you want to get the next level, and the next level is the PCC, and that's 500 hours and another
I don't know.
class. Yeah.
You don't have to do that, but that's definitely, if you love it and you want to keep advancing, that's another way. Is the PCC.
And so I'll put in the chat, I'm going to stop sharing real quick and we can just talk about how to sign up. I have the links available, but do you have any question?
Yeah.
Generally, I understand the process. I just need to look into it more in depth and align it to my own timeline within the school, within the things that I'm doing. When can I be able to do it? The question is there a set time when you actually start with the
Yes.
course? There is a set time. So when
Yeah.
do you actually start?
Yeah.
Is
Good
it,
question.
yeah,
So we're co-teaching and we're in two
yeah.
different places. So we tried to figure out a time that was gonna sort of, so our next class is starting on September 5th, which is a Friday, but that's my time, which is 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. In Cambodia, that's Saturday morning at 8 a.m. So I don't know what that would be for you.
It's fine. I'm looking for the month just to know because
Yeah,
usually September we
September.
start the school. Yeah, September we start the
Yeah,
school year. I'm
yeah.
usually free. For example, if I'm taking anything, I usually go through June, July because I would have that time, that luxury because I've done courses when I'm during the school year and I don't fully focus on them with everything else I'm doing. So I usually schedule courses during June, July, August. So I finish them before I actually move on. This is why I'm asking about the
Okay.
timeline of the courses so I can align things.
Yeah. Are
Uh,
are you open to doing something in September, or are you saying you would want to wait and try and do something next summer?
I still have another call I'm doing next week. It's a university thing, so I'm double checking if I'm going to go into a master's degree or am I going to do this. So I'm still
Okay.
exploring the different options that I have, and then I'm going to decide on one. But I'm scheduling things. This is why. So I'm still waiting to see what are the aspects that I have. But thank you, Kate, for sending the details. I'll definitely go through them. I'm just going to save the documents. I can go back to them later on. And I have Kate already on WhatsApp, so I think I can ask you questions there. Is it fine
Oh,
as well?
absolutely.
If I got any,
Yeah.
okay. So if I got further questions, because I'm trying to establish what do I want to do, but
Hmm.
this seems really something interesting, but I want to explore it when I'm fully with the right mindset in order to do it. So I'm questioning September. This is why, because
Okay.
usually the beginning of the year, Kate knows at school year MIP DP we go through two different calendars. So I'm aligning my two calendars for MIP DP, and I'm aligning it as well for e-assessment. And this is where I schedule all the workshops that I'm doing. I usually do it after April when I'm slightly freer. So my timeline is actually different how I do things, but I'll definitely explore this more in depth and I'll go into the payment methods and everything that I need to do. And I'll definitely go further with the questions if I have any as well.
Yeah.
But thank you
Yeah.
very much, both of you,
Did
for your
Kate,
time.
did you also share like just Dr. Shiny's website where it like
I
goes
did not.
whole, yeah, because you can
Oh,
also go on her website. She actually has,
okay, that's
like,
interesting.
and then you can really read like through the
Go
course.
through the
Really
whole
get,
thing.
yeah,
Okay, to have the full knowledge. Yeah, that would be
yeah.
interesting as well. I saved the coaching business schools, the ones that you've sent on my WhatsApp,
Oh,
so I can
okay.
go over them after we're done. This is why.
I'm gonna put her YouTube channel in because you I know she has some content on there because when I was deciding, I
Mm.
watched 2 straight hours of Dr.
Yeah.
because
Yeah, this is what we usually do.
I was not gonna take it if I didn't think she was a good teacher. I'm critical. And now I wanna get her website for you. That was a great addition, Matthew. You know what her website is?
She has two. So this is her personal one, which she has the information on there, but then she has the Neuro-Shine. So they both have it, but it's just kind of in different. I think her Dr. Shiny Utsal is actually more informative about the
Okay.
course. But you can check out the other one too,
Okay.
which is neuroshinetechnology.com.
Okay. I'm just saving the link so I can go through everything.
I think I have the websites right. I just did that from my memory. Let me see.
Yeah, and I think Matthew, we normally send out a email
Yeah,
after,
we'll
right?
send out a follow-up email so we can
Ah,
include
okay.
information. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you
Yeah.
for that.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you both for
Yeah.
all the information, and thank you both for doing the session, even if it's only one person. Honestly, I appreciate it.
We'll be doing a few more webinars before, so not only that you'd be welcome to come back to another one if you wanted, but certainly if you think anyone else might be interested, certainly send them our way. They can attend one of our
Definitely.
webinars. Yeah,
Definitely.
right
Thank
out
you
there.
very much for this. And definitely thank you for the opportunity to meet you both. And Kate,
Yeah.
thank you for meeting in, as well virtually, but still,
Yeah,
it's a good meet.
yeah. I look forward to seeing you again soon.
Thank you. Both of you enjoy your day, and thank you very
Thank
much again.
you. Thanks,
Okay,
Liana.
thank you.
Bye.
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 Hi, we can stay on here.
Do you want to stop recording or?
Yeah, because that was the problem last time. Let's see. Okay.